Hey boys and girls, welcome back. Today we're learning about an artist named Henri Matisse. He was a post-impressionistic painter from France who transformed painted paper into a world of plants, animals, figures, and shapes. Let's read a book about him. Our story today is called Henri's Scissors by Jeanette Winters. Matisse got as close as one can get to heaven with a pair of scissors by Romer Bearden. Henri's Scissors. In a small weaving town in France, a young boy named Henri Emile Jeanette Matisse watched his mother paint china. He wanted to paint too. He drew pictures in the sand, and he drew pictures in his school books. When Henri was a young man, he drew pictures in his law books and on contracts, deeds, and wills. Henri was sick in bed with appendicitis one winter. His mother gave him a box of paints, and he painted until he was well. He kept on painting, forgot about law, and left his small town to be an artist in Paris. Henri painted pictures day after day and year after year. He was happy, and his paintings made people happy. But when Matisse was an old man, he fell ill. So ill, he couldn't paint. So ill, he couldn't sit up. So ill, he could only lie in bed and sleep. His paintings floated by in his dreams. Matisse finally opened his eyes, and they were filled with sadness. Now he must remain in bed or use a wheelchair. Would he ever have the energy to paint again? When Matisse was strong enough to travel, he went to the seaside. The sea air might help him get well. Before long, he sat up. A little later, he drew. Then one day, Matisse picked up a pair of scissors and cut out shapes from painted paper. He was drawing with scissors. A pair of scissors is a wonderful instrument. Matisse cut paper all day. His assistants painted paper for him all day. Here's a quote from Matisse. My pleasure in cutting things out grows even greater. Why didn't I think of it earlier? That's a nice positive attitude, isn't it? Paper cutouts covered his walls. It seems to me that I am in a second life. One evening, Matisse lay in bed and drew the faces of his grandchildren on the ceiling with a piece of chalk tied to a long pole. As he fell asleep, they looked down on him and saw his dreams. True story. They saw the shapes that surrounded him in sleep. As time went on, Matisse cut bigger and bigger shapes. They filled his seaside room with color. You see, as I am obligated to remain often in bed, I have made a little garden all around me where I can walk. There are leaves, fruits, and a bird. I am deeply contented, happy. Look at all these organic shapes. Can you say organic? Then one night, Matisse walked out into his paper garden, and the rainbow of shapes cradled the old artist and carried him into the heavens. Are some of the stars we see at night coming to us from Henri's scissors? Perhaps. Henri, or Henri, Emile Jeanette Matisse. Can you say Matisse? At the end of the book, there's an author's note. It says,
Henri Matisse was born in France in 1869 and lived most of his life in Paris, where he was in the forefront of avant-garde painting. At age 72, Matisse became seriously ill and survived surgery for cancer. His body was frail, but not his spirit. Matisse began anew with colored paper and a pair of scissors. He died in Nice in 1954. I had only seen reproductions of Matisse's large cutouts until I visited the National Gallery in Washington, D.C. in 2001. When I saw the enormous wall-sized images there, I felt I was inside Matisse's garden, surrounded by his colors and shapes. That experience was the impetus for this book. Most helpful to me as I worked were Matisse's own words, especially those from his correspondence with his old friend, writer André Revere, which can be found in the Matisse, A Second Life story. I hope you enjoyed our story about Matisse. Hope you feel inspired, because we're going to be making some painted paper projects today.
let's begin. Nice reading with you. So long.